What if your birth chart is not just a personality map? What if it is a diagnostic engine for consciousness? What if every planet in your Vedic chart is showing not only karma, timing, relationship, career, emotion, and destiny, but also a precise gene key frequency, the shadow you repeat, the gift you must mature, and the higher possibility your life is quietly pushing you toward? Today, I want to take you into an actual sidereal hologenetic gene keys case study for Michael. And I want you to listen carefully, not as entertainment, but as a mirror. Because once you see this system clearly, you understand something powerful. Your shadow is not random. Your relationship patterns are not random. Your emotional reactions are not random. Your career pressure is not random. Your repeated life themes are not random. They are patterned. They are mapped. And once they are mapped, they can be transformed. Michael's map begins with Aquarius Ascendant, with Rahu and Aquarius in the first house. This immediately tells us Michael is not here to disappear into convention. He is not here to live as a copy of family, society, tribe, or culture. He is here to become more individual, more awake, more future-facing, more free. His ascendant carries gene key 55.5, victimization to freedom. This is a major liberation signature. At shadow frequency, this can feel like being trapped by circumstances, trapped by people, trapped by emotional history, trapped by old identity. But the gift and city are both freedom. So the very body interface says, Michael's life path is not about remaining in complaint, helplessness, or emotional limitation. It is about becoming a living example of freedom. Line 5 makes this practical and visible. His freedom is not only private, it must become useful. Others may project leadership, solution, rebellion, or guidance onto him. This is where sidereal hologenetic mapping becomes sharp. The planetary placement becomes the diagnostic engine. Aquarius rising shows the life interface. Rahu in the first shows karmic hunger for self-definition. Gene key 55 shows the shadow and gift. Line 5 shows the public role. This is not generic self-help. This is a precise consciousness map. Now look at Michael's sun in Taurus in the 4th house, Mrigashira nakshatra, carrying gene key 12.5. Vanity to discrimination to purity. The sun is life force, identity, dharma, and visible expression. Taurus gives stability, value, voice, beauty, taste, and grounded embodiment. The 4th house gives home, mother, memory, emotional security, roots, and inner peace. Mrigashira adds searching, refinement, curiosity, fragrance, beauty, and subtle perception. But gene key 12 reveals the consciousness movement. At shadow frequency, vanity may appear as wanting to appear refined, composed, tasteful, dignified, or emotionally superior. In the 4th house, this can become pride around family, culture, personal values, home, emotional self-image, or inner correctness. But at gift frequency, discrimination appears. Michael learns to sense what is clean and what is false, what is valuable and what is decorative, what is emotionally honest and what is only polished. At the highest level, this becomes purity. So Michael's life's work is not just to speak beautifully. It is to speak cleanly. Not impressive speech, not pleasing speech, not performative refinement, clean speech. His dharma begins when his voice stops protecting the ego and starts carrying truth. Opposite this, we see his earth in Scorpio in the 10th house, Jyeshta nakshatra, carrying gene key 11.5, obscurity to idealism to light. This is the evolution sphere, the main growth challenge. Scorpio in the 10th house brings public pressure, transformation, power, secrecy, crisis, authority, reputation, and deep responsibility. Jyeshta adds seniority, protection, hidden strength, loyalty tests, and karmic intensity. Gene key 11 begins with obscurity. This can show as inner richness without outer clarity. Many images, many ideas, many memories, many visions, but uncertainty about how to bring them into public light. At gift frequency, this becomes idealism, not fantasy-inspired vision. At the city level, it becomes light. So Michael's growth is clear. His inner refinement must become public light. The 4th house sun wants emotional security. The 10th house earth demands public transformation. This is the axis, private peace versus public responsibility. And many seekers know this pattern. You want comfort, but life demands visibility. You want emotional safety, but destiny demands contribution. You want to remain private, but your gifts ask to be used. This is why the map is so direct. Now we enter one of Michael's strongest karmic zones, the 7th house Leo moon with Ketu. His moon in Leo in Purva Falguni Nakshatra carries gene key 6.2, conflict to diplomacy to peace. The moon is emotional body, instinct, need, memory, and relationship sensitivity. In Leo, the moon wants warmth, loyalty, dignity, affection, and recognition. In the seventh house, the emotional body is activated through marriage, partnership, attraction, contracts, and the mirror of the other. Purva Falguni adds romance, pleasure, social charm, sensuality, beauty, and the desire to enjoy love. But Gene Key 6 says the emotional body must mature through conflict, diplomacy, and peace. This means relationship is not only comfort for Michael, it is training. At shadow frequency, there may be emotional friction, pride, hurt, defensiveness, expectation, drama, or conflict when love does not feel loyal enough, warm enough, or respectful enough. Line 2 makes this instinctive. He may not always realize how naturally his emotional field projects needs into partnership. At gift frequency, diplomacy emerges. He learns to hold emotional tension without escalating it. He learns to negotiate. He learns to create peace without suppressing truth. At city frequency, this becomes peace. Then we add K2 in Leo in the 7th house, carrying gene key 64.2, confusion to imagination to illumination. K2 shows past life residue, detachment, and old relational memory. In the 7th house, it says partnership is familiar, karmic, and complicated. Gene key 64 begins with confusion. In relationship, this can appear as unclear expectations, emotional projection, romantic memory, old attachment, or not knowing whether the bond is love, karma, duty, pride, or comfort. At gift frequency, imagination appears. Relationship becomes a field of vision, creativity, and deeper symbolic understanding. At city frequency, it becomes illumination. So Michael's relationship field is very specific. Conflict must become diplomacy. Confusion must become imagination. Emotional pride must become peace. Romantic karma must become illumination. This is why this system is powerful for shadow work. It does not shame the person. It shows the developmental movement. You are not bad because you repeat conflict. You are carrying gene key 6 through the moon. You are not weak because you feel confused in love. You are carrying gene key 64 through K2. The real question is, are you contemplating the pattern consciously? Now look at Mars in Gemini in the 5th house, Ardra Nakshatra, carrying gene key 39.4, provocation to dynamism to liberation. This is sharp, creative, verbal, and catalytic. Mars is drive, action, conflict, courage, sexuality, and assertion. Gemini gives words, debate, speed, intellect, and mental agility. The 5th house gives creativity, romance, intelligence, children, performance, and inspiration. Ardra adds storm energy, disruption, truth, emotional weather, breakdown, and breakthrough. Gene key 39 is the provocateur. At shadow frequency, provocation can show as sarcasm, argument, verbal challenge, emotional disruption, or disturbing the field just to feel alive. But at gift frequency, it becomes dynamism, the ability to awaken movement, stimulate creativity, energize people, and break stagnant patterns. At city frequency, it becomes liberation. Line 4 makes this relational. His fire affects friends, lovers, students, creative circles, and networks. The question is not whether Michael has intensity. He does. The question is, does his intensity provoke or liberate? This is the exact emotional maturity test. Is my truth-telling actually truth? Or is it emotional discharge? Is my fire awakening people? Or am I disturbing the field because I have not regulated myself? That is the power of the map. It gives the real question. Now take Mercury in Taurus in the 4th house. Kritika Nakshatra, carrying gene key 20.4, superficiality to self-assurance to presence. Mercury shows speech, learning, intellect, communication, and nervous system. Taurus makes the mind steady, practical, and value-based. The 4th house connects thought with emotional security, family, memory, and home. Kritika adds sharpness, precision, cutting clarity, and critical intelligence. Gene key 20 is about presence. At shadow frequency, superficiality can mean speaking without being fully present, staying calm on the surface, avoiding deeper feeling, or using practical language to bypass emotional truth. At gift frequency, self-assurance emerges. Speech becomes grounded. The mind becomes embodied. Communication becomes trustworthy. At city frequency, it becomes presence. Now combine this with the Sun's gene key 12 in the same 4th house. This is a double instruction. Purify the voice, become present in speech. Michael's consciousness evolves through communication. what he says, what he withholds, how he names emotion, and whether his words carry truth or defense. Then we see Venus in Cancer in the 6th house, Punarvasu Nakshatra, carrying gene key 56.5, distraction to enrichment to intoxication. Venus shows love, beauty, attraction, values, and pleasure. Cancer brings care, memory, protection, belonging, and emotional sensitivity. The 6th house brings work, service, health, conflict, duty, and daily responsibility. Punarvasu adds return, renewal, repetition, and rebuilding after difficulty. Gene key 56 is the storyteller. At shadow frequency, distraction can appear as emotional wandering, nostalgia, scattered love, overtalking, caretaking to avoid truth, or stories that keep the heart busy but not clear. At gift frequency, it becomes enrichment. Michael can enrich others through storytelling, emotional intelligence, care, humor, memory, service, and meaning-making. Line 5 makes this practical and public. His love nature must not remain sentimental. It must become useful. The Venus question is sharp. Does my story distract from truth, or does my story enrich truth? Now we come to Jupiter in Libra, in the 9th house, Chitra Nakshatra, carrying gene key 28.1, purposelessness to totality to immortality. This is the Dharma and prosperity signature. Jupiter in the 9th house gives philosophy, ethics, teaching, law, wisdom, higher learning, spiritual direction, and blessings through Dharma. Libra adds justice, beauty, diplomacy, relationship intelligence, and balance. Chitra adds craftsmanship, design, structure, and the ability to build something elegant. But gene key 28 asks the existential question, what is worth living for? At shadow frequency, purposelessness appears when life becomes too comfortable, too socially adjusted, or too disconnected from meaningful struggle. Michael cannot live on surface success. He needs depth. He needs purpose. He needs a path that requires total engagement. At gift frequency, totality emerges. He commits fully. At city frequency, this becomes immortality, contribution beyond the small ego. Line 1 makes this foundational. He must investigate meaning for himself. Borrowed belief will not work. This is the Jupiter diagnostic. What philosophy gives life? What belief is dead? What wisdom deserves total commitment? Now look at Saturn in Aries in the 3rd house, Bharani Nakshatra, carrying gene key 23.5, complexity to simplicity to quintessence. Saturn is karma, discipline, time, fear, maturity, and structure. Aries wants speed and direct action. The 3rd house rules communication, courage, writing, skills, siblings, media, and self-effort. Bharani brings pressure, endings, moral consequence, and creative birth. Gene key 23 is the simplifier. At shadow frequency, complexity may show as over-explaining, overthinking, making communication heavy, delaying action through too many mental layers, or complicating simple truth. At gift frequency, simplicity emerges. At city frequency, it becomes quintessence, the distilled essence. Line 5 gives public usefulness. Michael can take complex spiritual, psychological, or practical material and make it clear for others, but only through discipline. Saturn's instruction is direct. Do not complicate truth to protect yourself. Simplify, speak clearly, act cleanly. Now look at Rahu in Aquarius in the 1st house, Shatabisha Nakshatra, carrying gene key 63.2, doubt to inquiry to truth. This is the evolutionary hunger. Rahu in the 1st amplifies identity. Aquarius adds future intelligence, reform, outsider consciousness, networks, technology, and unconventional thinking. Shatabisha adds healing, diagnosis, secrecy, alternative systems, medicine, and collective repair. Gene key 63 begins with doubt. At shadow frequency, Michael may question everything: himself, direction, identity, systems, beliefs, people, and truth. But the gift is inquiry. When doubt matures, it becomes research, investigation, discernment, and honest questioning. At city frequency, it becomes truth. Line 2 makes this natural. He may not even realize how instinctively he questions assumptions. This is a seeker code, but it has one danger. Inquiry must mature into truth. Otherwise, doubt becomes a loop. Now take Uranus and Virgo in the 8th house, Hasta Nakshatra, carrying gene key 48.2, inadequacy to resourcefulness to wisdom. This is the higher mind placement. Uranus brings disruption, awakening, unconventional insight, and future intelligence. Virgo makes it analytical, diagnostic, and system-oriented. The 8th house takes it into crisis, hidden knowledge, psychology, trauma, occult systems, sexuality, inheritance, and transformation. Hasta adds hands, skill, healing, craft, documentation, and practical mastery. Gene key 48 is depth. At shadow frequency, Inadequacy appears. I do not know enough. I am not ready. I need more skill. I need more certainty. But at gift frequency, this becomes resourcefulness. Michael can solve hidden problems, analyze crisis patterns, understand occult or psychological systems, and bring practical wisdom into complex situations. At city frequency, it becomes wisdom. So Uranus says, your higher mind awakens through depth, not surface learning. This is not casual spirituality. This is research, diagnosis, transformation, and applied wisdom. Now the prenatal or design profile adds the unconscious body memory layer. Michael's design sun carries gene key 25.3, constriction to acceptance to universal love. This is radiance. The body loses vitality when the heart contracts. The body regains vitality when acceptance returns. This is a crucial corrective to the intensity in the chart. Michael cannot think his way into radiance. He has to soften. Acceptance is medicine. His design earth carries gene key 46.3, seriousness to delight to ecstasy. This is purpose. Virgo in the 11th house can overfocus on improvement, service, contribution, and usefulness. But Gene Key 46 says, the body is sacred. Life is not only a problem to solve. Purpose is delight. Purpose is embodied joy. Purpose is learning to serve without losing aliveness. Most importantly, Michael's design Mars and design Saturn both carry Gene Key 24.5, addiction to invention to silence, in Aries in the 6th house. This is powerful because both core vocation and stability repeat the same key. The deepest wound and the stabilizing discipline are linked. Gene Key 24 at shadow frequency is addiction, not only substance addiction, but repetitive thinking, compulsive action, looping arguments, mental replay, urgency, and the inability to let the mind rest. In Aries and the 6th house, this can become action addiction, fixing, reacting, doing, solving, pushing. At gift frequency, this becomes invention. The same loop becomes breakthrough. The same pressure becomes method. The same repetition becomes insight. At city frequency, it becomes silence. This is one of Michael's deepest teachings. The mind that loops can become the mind that invents. The action that reacts can become the action that serves. The pressure that exhausts can become silence. That is the hidden vocation. Now let's bring the whole map together. The Aquarius Ascendant with Rahu says, become free, original, and true. The Leo moon with Ketu in the 7th house says, relationships will expose emotional pride, conflict, confusion, and old attachment. The Taurus sun and Mercury in the 4th house say, purify your speech and become present in your emotional foundation. The Scorpio earth in the 10th house says, bring depth into public responsibility. The Gemini Mars in the 5th house says, your creative fire must liberate, not provoke. The Libra Jupiter in the 9th house says, find a philosophy worth your total commitment. The Aries Saturn in the 3rd house says, simplify your communication and discipline your courage. The Virgo Uranus in the 8th house says, your higher mind awakens through hidden systems, crisis, psychology, and deep research. And the design profile says, underneath all of this, the body wants acceptance, delight, invention, teamwork, resourcefulness, and silence. So Michael's life is a movement, from vanity to purity, from conflict to peace, from provocation to liberation, from doubt to truth, from inadequacy to wisdom, from addiction to silence, from victimization to freedom. That is the map. That is the work. And that is why Sidereal Hologenetic Gene Keys mapping is so direct. It does not reduce you to a zodiac sign. It does not give vague spiritual language. It reads the planet, the house, the sign, the nakshatra, the gene key, the line, and the shadow to gift movement together. The planet shows the function. The house shows the life area. The sign shows the behavioral style. The nakshatra shows the emotional mythic instinct. The gene key shows the consciousness spectrum. The line shows how it expresses. The design profile shows the hidden body memory. That is a complete diagnostic system. For Michael, the central message is clear. Do not merely become louder. Become cleaner. Cleaner in speech, cleaner in relationship, cleaner in emotional truth, cleaner in purpose, cleaner in the use of intelligence, cleaner in the handling of conflict, cleaner in the choice of freedom. This is real shadow work, not endless pain digging, not vague affirmations, not spiritual bypassing. Real shadow work means seeing the exact frequency that repeats, and then practicing the gift in daily life. If your shadow is conflict, your practice is diplomacy. If your shadow is doubt, your practice is inquiry. If your shadow is inadequacy, your practice is resourcefulness. If your shadow is complexity, your practice is simplicity. If your shadow is victimization, your practice is freedom. You can track this in conversations. You can track it in relationships. You can track it at work. You can track it in your body. You can track it in the moment before you react. That is why this system works for serious seekers. It gives you the map of karma and the path of transformation in one reading. It shows the wound and the vocation. It shows the pattern and the practice. It shows the shadow and the gift. And once you see your map clearly, you stop asking, what is wrong with me? You start asking the higher question, what gift is trying to emerge through this exact shadow? That question changes the entire direction of life. For Michael, the chart is not saying he is trapped by conflict, doubt, provocation, vanity, complexity, or emotional karma. It is saying these are raw materials. The mature expression is peace, liberation, purity, simplicity, wisdom, silence, and freedom. That is the real reading, not prediction, transformation, not personality typing, consciousness mapping, not vague spirituality, a precise diagnostic map for the soul's growth. And if you are listening to this and recognizing your own patterns, repeated emotional conflicts, relationship loops, career pressure, self-doubt, mental repetition, hidden wounds, attraction patterns, or the feeling that your life keeps bringing you the same lesson, then your chart may already be speaking. You may not need more motivation. You may need a clearer map. You may need to see which planets carry which gene keys, which houses activate which life areas, which nakshatras shape your emotional instincts, and which shadows are ready to become gifts. If you want a deep sidereal hologenetic gene keys map reading, one that works for you, one that takes your real Vedic placement seriously, one that shows your shadow, gift, purpose, vocation, relationship pattern, and prosperity frequency with precision, get in touch with me. Because once you understand your map, you stop fighting yourself blindly. You begin working with the pattern consciously, and that is where real transformation begins.